Good morning, sirs. Now, next concept is the synchronous machine design. Design of field winding. We have to call design procedure or design steps. Same thing it is asked in the VTU examination for 10 marks or 8 marks. These steps are very important as per the theoretical concept as well as our next design procedure. Step number 1, in order to design the field winding, the exciter voltage must be known. The exciter voltage must vary between 50 volts to 400 volts. So, a range of 125 volts is used for small and medium machines. A range of 250 volts is used for larger size machines. The field winding should be designed for a voltage from 15 to 20% less than exciter voltage. Hence, to allow the voltage drop between field and excitation, and also to consider the variation of reluctance in magnetic field, for this 15 to 20% less consideration should be required. Let V be the exciter voltage, VE be the exciter voltage, then voltage across each field coil, it is given by 0.8 to 0.85% of exciter voltage VE divided by number of poles. Next, step number 2, we know that height of the field winding and height of the pole. Height of the pole is more, always height of the pole is more, less than some height the field winding acquires. So, height of the field winding may be calculated by using this relation, that is height of the pole should be equal to height of the field winding plus height of the pole shoe, then height of height or some space taken by spool or flanges. Therefore, height of the field winding HF equal to height of pole HPL minus H1 is the height that is considered for pole shoe, then some space is taken for spool and flanges. So, you have to generally remember height of the pole is greater than height of the field winding. So, general consideration, space taken by the spool and flanges as 20 mm. Step number 3, we have to assume some suitable value of depth of winding df. Hence, we have to calculate mean length of turn. So, if pole pitch is 0.1, winding depth is 25 mm. If pole pitch is 0.2, 35 mm. If pole pitch is 0.4, 45 mm. So, suitable value of df, depth of winding should be assumed, then calculation is processed. Step number 4, voltage across each field coil. Let EF be the voltage across field coil. This voltage across field coil is given by field current into resistance of each field coil at 75 degree centigrade. So, one more assumption we have to make, TF is the number of turns in each field coil. Therefore, IF into TF, that is field MMF for pole at full load, that generally we can use ampere turns at full load. Then earlier expression only EF equal to IF into RF. You substitute the RF value, resistivity LMT TF divided by area of field conductor. We are already knowing TF is the number of turns in each field coil, and IF into TF, that is field MMF per pole at full load, that we can take 80 ampere turns full load FL. So, you substitute this 80 FL equal to IF into TF. So, the equation 1 becomes, then from this relation you can put or you can calculate area of field conductor A of F equal to ATFL, resistivity LMTF, EF. You can able to calculate the area of field conductor. Step number 5, the value of field current can be calculated by assuming suitable value of current density in field conductors. You can assume the current density in field conductor approximately about 3 to 4 amperes per millimeter square. Hence, field current equal to current density into area of conductor. Step number 6, by knowing the ampere turns at full load, it is very easy to calculate the number of turns in field winding, TF. TF equal to ampere turns of full load divided by respective field current. Step number 7, we know the winding space, thus we can easily find out whether it is suitable to accommodate or not. First case, in case winding space is available less, then increase the depth. In case winding space is available more, decrease the depth of till winding pits as per winding design, which out of these two cases, one case may be available, you can use that. Resistance of field winding, RF. RF equal to TF, resistivity LMT divided by AF. After knowing the resistance of field winding, then you can go for copper loss, estimation of copper loss. That estimation of copper loss, IF square into RF. RF already you are knowing top. This loss dissipated by the field coil, we have to check the temperature rise, whether it should be within the limits or not. For that, you have to go for dissipating surface of coil, that S should be equal to 2 times of LMT into bracket HF plus DF, height of field coil plus depth of field coil. Another important parameter, cooling coefficient of field coil, CF equal to 0.08 to 0.12 divided by 1 plus 0.1 VA. After knowing the above parameters, you put in this fashion: temperature rise. Temperature rise should be equal to QF CF divided by S. After estimation of temperature rise, you have to take the decisions. The temperature rise of coil should be within specified limits. If it exceeds the specified limits, then options are increase the depth of winding. Increase the depth of winding. By increasing the depth of winding, it reduces current density. It reduces the current density, then it reduces the copper loss. In this method, trial and error, you have to make this and check the temperature rise, then you give the final decision.